Thanks for joining us on TVC Midday News. Well, official campaigns for the 2023 elections have now commenced, and political parties are pulling resources together to strategize ahead of the polls. Although the governing All Progressives Congress has postponed the inauguration of its campaign council, several support groups have continued their campaigns in major parts of the country. Now, one of the first groups to hit the streets for the APC is the City Boy movement. And this group, led by Shuaga Francis, says it will work hard to ensure it delivers 10 million votes in favor of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu.
This youth movement in support of the presidential candidate of the APC may be a pointer to the role young Nigerians will play in next year's general election. The National Coalition Group for City Boy Movement is using this platform to tell youth to only vote for Asiwaju Bola Tinubu because they believe he alone has a clear blueprint on how to effectively manage the economy and translate it to prosperity, growth, and national development.
The main reason why we're here today is to tell Nigerians that there is only one alternative to the presidency in 2023. Because there is only one man that has done that magic before. There is only one man that has turned an economy round. If you look at Lagos State, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu made Lagos State what it is today. And there is only one man that can change this economy in this 2023. Any mistake will be very, very grievous for us. So we must stand by him and make sure this man comes as the president in 2023.
This is a campaign, not the party campaign, not the official campaign, but just the gathering of young people who believe in Asiwaju, who believes in his leadership, who believes that he holds the promise for a better Nigeria, and that is the reason why we are gathered here for the City Boy and the Golden Boy of Kaduna State.
We know the only candidate we have in Nigeria is Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. Today, all the Nigerian youth are standing with City Boy to say that Asiwaju is a builder. He has built so many leaders in the country.
The group is also leveraging the support of women across the country to mobilize votes for the Tinubu-Shettima presidency. These women say they will join the campaign trail because they believe in the capacity of Bola Tinubu and his plans and programs that will also improve their well-being and increase their inclusion in governance.
Women are ready. You see, let me tell you something. Nigeria women believe in Asiwaju. Nigeria women know that with Asiwaju presidency, all our suffering will end. So our women, they are solidly behind Asiwaju.
The group says they are going beyond this kind of rally to talk directly to registered voters as campaigns officially begin and politicking becomes intense.
And the opposition People's Democratic Party has inaugurated its presidential campaign council, which is expected to spearhead efforts to wrest power from the All Progressives Congress at the polls next year. The presidential candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, told members of the campaign council that he plans to restore Nigeria's unity, build an effective democratic structure, develop education, health, and other critical sectors in the economy. And for the Director General of the PDP's campaign council, Governor Aminu Tambuwal, says the PDP is the party to beat, and he is confident that the party enjoys the support of Nigerians.
Our plans for Nigeria and Nigerians are as follows: to restore Nigeria's unity through equity, social justice, mutual collaboration and consensus among our diverse peoples; to build a strong and effective democratic government where the safety and security of our people and their property is our primary and singularly most important responsibility.
This party, the PDP, is the only party that is competing very strongly in every one of the 6 geopolitical zones of this country. All other political parties are either situated in 1 or 2, and they are losing grounds everywhere.
All of us are going to hit the ground running, and we shall work collectively as a family and expeditiously to ensure the victory of our party. The party of the PDP and indeed its candidate is the party to beat in this election.
And just as political parties are mapping out campaign strategies, the Independent National Electoral Commission has stressed the need for its stakeholders to support its course to increase voter education at the forthcoming elections. Speaking at the Voter Education Innovative Dragon competition in Abuja, INEC says lack of adequate voter education is capable of hampering the outcome of the polls. TVC News' Helen Osamede Akins has more.
Voter education involves providing information on who is eligible to vote, where and how to register, how electors can check the voter list to ensure that they have been duly included, what type of elections are being held, where, when and how to vote, who the candidates are, and how to file complaints. The forthcoming 2023 general elections provide an opportunity for new voters to understand their rights, the political system, the context they are being asked to decide, and how and where to vote. INEC wants more hands to be on deck to support the Commission to reach out to as many that need to be educated on the need to cast their vote appropriately.
All hands should be on deck, to provide voter education. But top on the list are registered and civil societies who have passion, in civic responsibilities, educating the citizens, to be alive to their obligations and responsibilities.
While the 2022 Electoral Act has been widely hailed as a step forward, there are very few people who are familiar with its specific provisions, especially the ones related to electoral offenses like vote buying, that really do threaten to undermine the legitimacy of the 2023 elections.
This event, organized by the International Foundation for Electoral System, is to raise non-governmental organizations that will pitch innovative proposals for effective and inclusive voter education campaigns in the build-up to the 2023 general elections.
We got a total of 70 applications, which after that it was pruned down to 20, which we see today. We are expecting each of the organizations today to make their live presentations around their ideas, and then the panelists will now review those ideas and then be able to select 6 of those organizations, one representing each of the geopolitical zones.
Successful organizations will be given the grants to carry out their innovative ideas across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country.
As campaign officially begins, INEC urged political parties to use the opportunity to educate their supporters on voting processes to ensure that their votes count during the elections. Helen Osamide Akins, TVC News, Abuja.
We turn our attention now to Kogi State, where 6 persons have been killed after a bullion van collided with a car suspected to be carrying premium motor spirit along the Agungu-Benin-Kebbi Road. Spokesperson of the Police Command in Kogi State, Superintendent of Police, Nafiu Abubakar, says the casualty figure included 3 policemen, while 8 others sustained various degrees of injuries. SP Abubakar also noted that the accident occurred when a car carrying jerry cans of PMS was suspected to have been chased by a Nigeria Customs Service patrol team from Benin-Kebbi, who then had a head-on collision with the bullion van and went up in flames, affecting 3 other cars. We talk security now, where the Chief of Staff to President Muhammadu Buhari, Ibrahim Gambari, is appealing to the United Nations to create at least 2 permanent seats for Africa at the United Nations Security Council. Professor Gambari made this appeal at the Nigerian Defense Academy in Kaduna State, where he delivered a convocation lecture. TVC News' Lupe Assam has more.
This procession is made of senior military officers, the Chief of Staff to the President, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, and other senior staff of the Nigerian Defense Academy in Kaduna. They are here for the convocation lecture, marking the commencement of graduation activities for the passing out parade of cadets of 69 regular course and postgraduate students. The Nigerian Defense Academy plays a key role in producing the nation's military officers. It also leads research and discussions to promote national security.
Today's lecture, National Security, Defense and Diplomacy in an Evolving World Order, is a topical and stimulating intervention in this uncertain period of global security threats and the dilemma before our beloved country.
The guest lecturer discusses the dimensions of global change which is taking a toll on global security, such as climate change, ICT revolution, population growth, and the emergence of key actors in the international system.
The extent to which we can prevail and triumph will be a function of our understanding that legitimacy, belonging, inclusion, and equity have to be cultivated constantly. So we must think in terms of national security, not just the security of our borders, because you can have the security of the territory of Nigeria, but the insecurity of its people.
He ended his hour-long lecture by strongly appealing to the United Nations to create at least 2 seats for Africa, especially Nigeria, at the United Nations Security Council.
We are not shy in calling for at least 2 permanent seats for Africa in the reformed Security Council of the United Nations, and Nigeria must be at least one of them.
He also wants the armed forces equipped technology-wise to better respond to contemporary security threats. Lupe Asom, TVC News, Kaduna.
You're watching TVC Midday News. Methane emission, that's the second most potent pollutant after carbon dioxide. Well, this has been on the increase in Nigeria over the years. And due to its negative impact on the environment, the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency is now in the process of developing a satellite-based methane emission tracker tool to help Nigeria monitor the activities of the oil and gas industry. TVC News' Moyo Thomas has more.
Several efforts have been put into ensuring Nigeria overcomes its challenge of gas flaring. One of such was the development of the Nigerian Gas Flare Tracker, NGFT, in 2016. It was upgraded in 2018 with efforts by the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency under the Foster project funded by the UK government. The NGFT is a use of satellites for tracking gas flares, but in spite of this, gas flaring in Nigeria is still at about 10%, the highest globally as at 2018. This National Stakeholder Summit holding in Abuja is centered around the use of satellites for tracking gas flare, emission detection and measurements in the oil and gas sector. It is to help participants share and exchange knowledge and to showcase opportunities satellite applications offer in reducing environmental pollution through gas flaring.
The devastating impacts of gas flare on humans and the environment, health and livelihoods of our rural and urban communities have led to poor atmospheric quality.
The specific details of the innovative features of Nigerian Gas Flare Tracker are its capability to know the quantity of gas flared by operating oil companies in Nigeria.
Gas flaring on climate change, carbon dioxide emission into the atmosphere, the impact on the ozone layer, and then how it causes a lot of direct effect on us.
The need to tackle gas flaring, other air and environmental pollutant is crucial, considering the losses Nigeria records in this regard. A 2018 data by PricewaterhouseCoopers says the Nigerian economy lost over 230 billion naira in 2018 to gas flaring. Environmental cost of gas flaring was stated to be about 28.8 billion naira annually, according to the Natural Environment, Economic and Development Study needs for climate change in Nigeria. Cutting methane emission can also avert about 30,000 deaths related to air pollution yearly. Gas flaring is one of the major pollutants that contributes to climate change globally. That is one of the reasons this summit is of essence if Nigeria is to meet up with the Sustainable Development Goals and the Climate Goal 2060. Moya Thomas, TVC News, Abuja.
In other reports now, the National Freedom of Information Ranking cohort has revealed that more than 80% of the government's ministries, departments and agencies haven't complied with the publication of their procurement information as stipulated in the 2011 Freedom of Information Act. Now, this was disclosed at the annual National Freedom of Information Compliance and Transparency Ranking Report in Abuja. TVC News' Tijesu Adeoye has more.
Freedom of Information Compliance and Transparency Ranking started in 2013. This analysis is conducted on a yearly basis to assess the level of compliance of public institutions with the benchmark of citizens' access to public information in the custody of government ministries, departments and agencies. However, experts conducting this research recorded a sharp decline in the responsiveness of public institutions in publishing their procurement plans, which is mandatory in line with the Freedom of Information Act 2011.
We were able to reach them via mails, and some responded, some did not. Some we got information on their website already, which is what we call proactive disclosure. So proactive disclosure, makes provision for information that should be in the public domain already, without even an individual writing a formal request.
The rankings actually showed that fewer institutions complied with the directives to publish procurement plans as issued by the government. A comparative analysis was conducted between 2020 and 2021, and we saw that there was a decline of 45.57%.
The ranking cohorts recognized the compliance of 3 public institutions and awarded them for living up to expectations in the timely disclosure of their procurement information. These public institutions include the Bureau of Public Sector Reforms, Nigeria Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, as well as the Debt Management Office. Public institutions are now encouraged to enhance the technical capacity of their staff and make budgetary provisions for ICT infrastructure to ease data publication.
Disclosing information allows us to interrogate the information that has been shared, but also for us to collectively debate and dialogue on our development priorities.
The event also conforms with the International Day for Universal Access to Information, which is celebrated on the 28th of September every year. The theme for this year's event is Artificial Intelligence, E-Governance and Access to Information. Tijesu Adeoye, TVC News, Abuja.
Experts have identified significant gaps in the awareness, diagnosis and prevention of heart failure in the Middle East and here in Africa. They want urgent action to be taken to stop and reverse the rise in heart failures, which is associated with significant morbidity, mortality, and considerably impacts patients' quality of life and incurring a substantial economic burden. According to a group of regional experts as published in the Journal of the Saudi Heart Association, an average African may develop heart failure at the age of 53. They also identified diabetes, obesity, smoking, and socioeconomic transitions, as well as high consumption of fatty foods as the main contributors to the higher prevalence of heart failure. For health issues now, the need for adequate collaboration among health professionals, including pharmacists, has been identified as a major factor to end drug prescription errors. And now the national president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria, Cyril Lucifos, was speaking at the opening ceremony of the 30th anniversary and Pharmacy Week held in the Osun State capital, Osogbo. TVC News' Rafiu Hamid has more.
Pharmacy Week is commemorated in September every year, and the motive is to raise patients and colleagues' awareness about the vital role pharmacists play on the healthcare team. In Osun, pharmacists commemorate the week with a series of events, including lectures. Some of the issues raised here include cases of prescription errors and the need to address it.
Unfortunately, when the records were being shown, Nigeria is not even in the radar.
The keynote speaker wants barriers in providing adequate health care broken.
Restricted access, simple access to vaccination. You know how many people are dying? You know the vaccination coverage in Nigeria? In urban center, 40%, in rural areas, 16%, and then you have trained professionals, and you don't want them to do vaccination in community pharmacy.
Areas where government's attention are needed were pointed out.
We want to use this freedom to call for the employment of more pharmacists in the local government, hospital management board, and the Ministry of Health,
to replace those that have relocated, because people are relocating every day, retired or have gone to rest.
Lectures were also delivered on the roles of pharmacists in the management of asthma, diabetes, among others. Chairman of the event and the State Commissioner for Finance, Bolaoi Bamiji, wants pharmacists to be alive to their responsibilities.
We will not simply close shop for the love of country and humanity. We must come together to act. The incidence of self-medication among Nigerians equally deserve our collective action.
I want to assure you that pharmacists will continue to work hand in hand with everyone to ensure peaceful, progressive, and healthy working relationship.
Cultural display spice of the event. The pharmacists had converged on the Nelson Mandela Freedom Park in Osogbo to embark on a health walk as part of activities marking the week. The theme for this year's Pharmacy Week is Pharmacy United in Action for a Healthier World. Rafiu Hamid, TVC News, Osogbo.